Okay. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to my live broadcast. Today is 12th November 2020, Thursday already, right? And today our topic is about the market performance. So yesterday I mentioned that it is necessary that market give us a correction, right? So, but the performance last night for the U.S. market and also today the performance for Singapore and up until now, it seems like maybe we have some other possibilities other than immediate correction. Later I will talk about the details. So the topic, the market might go up first before correction. Is it another possibility? Okay, and recently the forceful rally, after that the correction is much expected, right? But maybe the correction may not come right now. But there are some preconditions if such kind of possibility would come true. Later I share with you the details. And then faced with such current market situation, what kind of stocks worth our attention? US market and Singapore market, right? And that's the first part of this live broadcast, and the second part will be about the individual stock diagnosis. And I mentioned again, you need to WhatsApp me your stock, the name of your stock, and the cost price, or maybe you're looking to buy. Let me know some details, okay? So this is my WhatsApp, all right? So WhatsApp me the stock so that I can diagnose for you. And yesterday, actually, I got some advice from you, which I'm really grateful. Some friend told me that maybe I can firstly talk about the Singapore market, and then maybe after that we talk about the US. The reason is because when I was doing the live broadcast, the US people in US, they are asleep, right? But the reason, I have a reason why I always analyze the US market first, because US market has very great influence on the other markets. And after checking the performance of US, then we will know better what would come for the other markets, for Singapore market. That's why I always talk about the US market first, okay? And there is another friend who told me that better I can narrow down the live broadcast. The time can be narrowed down to 30 or 40 minutes. That would be best. And I really appreciate your advice. And I have decided that from today on, I will make my live broadcast in 40 minutes. 40 minutes would be the most, okay? 30 to 40 minutes I will finish it. Because I really don't want to waste your time. I will try to do better. And if you have some other advices, feel free to let me know so that I know where to improve, all right? Because for me, also, I need to improve. And if with your advice, I can improve and do it better and better, okay? And anyway, really thankful for your support here. Okay, so before we begin, still I need to quickly remind you that all the stocks mentioned in the video are for the purpose of demonstration and education. No recommendation. Investors should be aware of the risks involved in stock trading and take full responsibilities for their own tradings. All right, so firstly, let's check the market performance. The day before yesterday, right? So for Nasdaq, we see a very forceful correction. And if last night the price continued dropping further, then the price would test the support level around the yellow lines here, right? But what happened last night is the price, after covered the small downward gap here, a turn upward, begin to go up. So means this small downward gap here is acting as some support level, right? And above, we see this level here around 11,909. This is the half of this long bearish candle. At the same time, that's the level of the high of the previous yellow Tai Chi signal, and also the previous high touch the level. Means this is very strong resistance in near future. So let's suppose if the downward gap here is now is acting as support, right? If the price can get support here, then never drop below, right? If never drop below the level, then continue going up, right? And then if the price can even break up this 11,909 resistance level, then higher probability the market would even continue going up first, hit a new high for Nasdaq, hit a new high. After that, maybe the correction would come. Yesterday, I was thinking that maybe the market would just continue dropping further to touch the support levels below and then maybe turn upward. But seems like the market has no intention to drop further. So it's also possible that if the market didn't drop further in near future, rather it can break up the strongest resistance here, then might continue rising for, let's say, for short term, for how long I cannot tell, but for short term may not be that long. The rally, even if there is a forceful rally recently, may not last for that a long time. After the price really can break up a new high, then the correction might come. So means the correction, if it didn't come now immediately, maybe when the price break up the resistance level here, it might continue going up for several days, maybe for short term, then turn downward, give us another correction again. So means for short-term trading, if you are very good at short-term speculation, right? Maybe you can find some chance recently. But the precondition, the level here, the downward gap here, the support can hold. If tonight it drop below the level, then higher probability might drop further. Or it will fluctuate between the yellow lines and the gap level here. Yeah, so it depends on the level can hold or not. And if it can hold, higher probability, price can go up, right? Then break up the resistance, then maybe can continue going up for several days in future. Okay, so this is for Nasdaq. Then if we check S&P 500 situation, not exactly the same, but similar, right? And we see the strongest resistance here, 3,567, the high of the previous yellow Tai Chi. And we also see the price seems have no intention to drop this previous upward gap here. Also, the day before yesterday, the price already covered the gap, covered upward gap, and acting as the support now. The price, it didn't drop below the level, rather it's trying to break up. Now the price actually is a bit higher than the resistance level here, right? Because the resistance level is 3,567. Last night the close price is 3,572, slightly higher. So really, if the price can stay above, then for S&P 500, it might even go up further in near future before there is another correction. Okay, but if tonight it drop again below the gap support here, then might still dropping further. Okay, so this is for S&P 500. Then for Dow Jones, right? Dow Jones also, this big upward gap here, the price seems have no intention to break down the support here. So because Dow Jones already hit a new high, so in near future, actually the resistance level, not very strong, significant resistance level. The upper shadow here, the high price, maybe for short term, there might be some resistance here, the high, right, the new high here. But in near future, because most of the times, all the three indexes move in the same direction. So if all the indexes refuse to drop further in near future, or get support at a strong support levels, maybe might continue rising for several days, or maybe how long I cannot tell, but at least for short term. Then maybe after that there would be a correction, because my opinion remains unchanged. A correction is necessary for the U.S. market. The rally here is already a too forceful one. A correction is necessary. It's just a matter of time whether it will come now immediately or it would come maybe later. Okay, so now it seems like based on the current market performance, seems like maybe it might delay a bit the correction before it really comes. All right, and then for our STI, we see the bottom of the previous yellow Tai Chi signal is and also this is the Tai Chi, and also we have the gap, right? The previous upward gap. Also the gap, the top is acting as the support. The level is around 2,668, and also the price, it didn't drop below to cover the gap, right? So the resistance, the previous Tai Chi still remain here, and the top of the Tai Chi is 2,790, around that level. So today, if we check the current market performance for our STI, right, we can check where is the current position for our STI. Give me just 30 seconds to check the real-time chart. So seems like the market is refusing to drop immediately, right, for short term. So here comes the question, should we chase after it, or maybe we wait? If you, I mentioned if you are a very speculative investor, right? For short term, maybe you have some chances for speculation. But if you are not that good at such kind of speculation, maybe you can wait after the correction really come. After the correction, then you can consider to buy again. Now the price is around 2,703. 2,703. Yes, that's around the, that's still, above the gap here, right? Because the top of the gap is 2,668. Now the price safely above the gap. So this gap is very strong support. If really the price didn't cover in near future, might even continue going up to touch the high of the previous yellow Tai Chi, 2,790. Means we have some rising space for short-term speculation, but the precondition is the level can hold, the gap, the support level can hold. If cannot a drop, you need to stop loss if you're doing speculation, right? Okay, so then after checking the general market performance, you might ask, wow, so if there is some short-term speculation chances, so what kind of stocks can we pay a special attention, right? Okay, so for example, let's check the U.S. market first, right? So the U.S. market, if the indexes remain quite strong, no doubt we always can check the high-tech companies, right? So yesterday I also mentioned about all the high-techs, right? But the truth is, if we check them again, for example, Google, right? Google, it's already high after the big upward gap. So now the price is still around the close price of this long bullish candle here. So seems like still quite strong. The upward momentum is quite strong. It's already high. So it's high to chase after, right? So Google, maybe you can monitor. In future, after correction, you can try maybe to touch the gap to see whether it would cover. If cannot, it's not never covered, maybe turn upward again, you can consider again, right? But now maybe it will not be that easy to participate. Google, right? And then for Amazon, the problem is it's still below the yellow lines of Homely Rainbow. Although yesterday also quite forceful rebound for Amazon, right? But just because below the yellow lines will be very strong resistance, and currently the big boys also a little too few, right? We need better more big boys, and the price can really go back above the yellow lines. So we can just skip it. We skip Google, skip Amazon, then Microsoft. Microsoft, okay, the price is above the yellow lines. That's true. But you see the previous downward gap here, right? The gap here, now after the rebound last night, the price still remain below the top of this downward gap. So this is very strong resistance, and also the half level of this previous long bearish candle here also would be a quite a strong resistance. So means for Microsoft, resistance levels above we have two and also quite strong. So we have more uncertainties here. Too much uncertainties. Maybe it's also not the best one to consider, right? Because the pattern not so beautiful, and also we have no big boys now. It's a bit weak. And then what left is Apple and Facebook, right? So let's check Facebook first. Facebook. Okay, so Facebook, we see we have big boys around 25%, so it's stronger, right, than Microsoft and also Amazon. And then the other thing is we still have this gap. Yesterday also covered the gap, but above we have the half level of this long bearish candle. And so means this, the resistance level recently also is the rising space here is not a very big one, right? It's not a very big one. So I'm not saying the price mustn't break up the half level, but the probability may not be that high. So if we see the uncertainties too big, the risks even bigger than the rising space, the profit range, maybe we can find some other choices, because market never lacks of opportunities, never lacks of good stocks. We can find some other safer ones with a greater success rate, right? And then finally the last one, Apple. Okay, so for Apple now the big boy is still around 25%. Okay, so for this one, we see after the first red circle here, right? The price remain above the yellow lines. The yellow lines acting as very strong support. And the day before yesterday, the price also get support here, never drop below, and last night go up. So if we only check the candle patterns, Apple would be the most beautiful one. It is the most beautiful pattern compared with the other four, right? And if you are trying to do some short-term speculation and you are thinking that recently as the US market may not drop immediately, maybe the rally can remain for more days for short-term, right? Then you want to catch some short-term speculative profits. Of course, the indexes go up, then the high-tech companies would follow. And after comparing the chart patterns for the 5 high-tech giants, then Apple turned out to be the most beautiful one, right? Of course, above we also have resistance. Let's say the previous high, some sort of resistance. This is the first resistance level. And then above we have the yellow Tai Chi also acting as some sort of resistance. But the pattern here is the most beautiful one. We have some rising space. Okay, we have some rising space here, bigger rising space here for Apple. And also you see, no, we have around 25% of big boys. That's better, right? Okay, so this is for the high-tech companies, maybe was your attention recently, right? And then the other sector is the banks, okay, the US banks, right? And then of course we check the strongest banks, the weak ones, we don't have to check them, right? So the strongest banks we have what? JP Morgan. Because for JP Morgan, there is a very big upward gap. Okay, we have a big upward gap, right? So after that, the price it dropped, but the gap here in future would be a strong support. After this big upward gap, we see the big boys increase sharply. And then for this one, considering after this big upward gap, the price is very high. If you feel it tricky to trade, maybe you can check the other. But this is just after the price break up the long-term trend lines, the white lines of homely rainbow. We call it the birth of dark horse. Means for the banks, for this bank, in future, after maybe the price drop to get some, to test the support levels below the gap and the white lines maybe, then turn upward again. Means this is a successful long-term bullish reversal. So that would be a great news, because if really the stock market is going to be bullish, the banks, usually the performance would be quite good. You can buy and hold for medium term to long term. That would be very good choice. For medium term to long term holding means recently you can maybe consider opening position. Okay, but for this one, JP Morgan, we check the top of the gap. If in near future it will be support, right? If the drop touch the level, turn upward again, you can consider. But if it continue dropping to cover the gap, maybe wait for a longer time, maybe to get support at the white lines of rainbow below. Okay, and now we see the last night the price is slightly below the half level or around the half level of this long bullish candle. We also can check this level a bit, because half level would be very strong support or resistance. If even the price didn't drop below this level, means it's quite strong upward momentum. Short term, maybe there might be some short term profit here. This is for JP Morgan, but it's too high. People may feel fearsome about the height. If you feel it's too high, then check the other, Bank of America. Bank of America. Yes, BAC. Okay. Okay, Bank of America also give us a big upward gap. And if we check the long term, it's also just after the birth of dark horse. And this is a long-term sideways. Okay, this is a long-term sideways. Now the price finally seems like it's going to break up the sideways platform here. So this is a good sign. And we see this long bullish candle, the half level in near future, if it never drop below, means it's quite strong. Even for short term, there might be some other rise in near future for short term. Okay, and also we see the big boys now is more than 50%. So Bank of America. Okay, you need to check the half level closely. If it drop below, wait first. If it can remain above, can try. But don't forget to set your stop loss. Never forget to set your stop loss. Because just now I say this is a possibility that recently the market might not correct, but rather it might continue going up further recently for short term, right? But this is a possibility. If the market turn downward again, correction really come, then you need to stop loss, right? Okay, so this is for Bank of America. And then the other one is Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs. GS. Okay, Goldman Sachs. You check Goldman Sachs compared with the other two chart patterns. This one may look like the most beautiful one because this is the sideways platform. The price now hasn't yet really break up the sideways platform, right? But you check compared with the other two, the position is lower. And this sideways area, the pattern here is a much more beautiful one than the other two. Because for this one, you check all the 16 lines of homely rainbow here. I remove the circle. You can see more clearly. The 16 lines gather together, this gathering of 16 lines, this is a very beautiful pattern. This is a very bullish pattern. Usually after that, the price will double in future. After this pattern, successfully break up, right? Now we also have big boys appearing around 25%. If you feel Bank of America or JP Morgan already a bit high for short term, you feel frightened by the height, then this one may be a better choice, right? Because the pattern here is the most beautiful one. Gathering those 16 lines. You see all the 16 lines gathered together. This is an extremely bullish pattern, I tell you. You go back, BA, Bank of America, BAC, right? So you check again. This one, the 16 lines, they're not gathering together, right? Oh, if you check JP Morgan again, also the 16 lines, they are not gathering together. Only Goldman Sachs, you get a beautiful gathering of 16 lines. So that's the most beautiful one. Okay, so this is about the banks for the US. Then how about Singapore? Singapore, we also have the banks recently. The performance quite strong. For example, DBS. We have talked about the banks a lot because we already have the price break up the white lines of Homely Rainbow. Now it's already confirmed, the successful breakthrough. Only that recently the rally is too fast, too forceful. Some people fail to catch it in time. Then, in future, when to consider buy again? Because for the banks, if the market going to be quite bullish, surely they will have great opportunities in future. I'm talking about medium-term to long-term profit, not just some short-term rebound or some short-term rally, all right, for the banks. Okay, so then considering now the price, let's say check DBS first, right? DBS, big upward gap, okay? Faced with the stimulus of the vaccine news, then big upward gap. After that, yesterday, it just dropped a bit, still remains safely above the top of the upward gap here, right? So, if this will be a strong support in the future, right? So, if DBS, this morning I checked, it dropped a bit. If the correction, it never drop below the the top of this upward gap, which will be the low of yesterday, the day before yesterday candle, the long lower shadow here, right? So it turned upward again. Maybe the rally can even last for more days. But I mentioned, for this kind of forceful rally in a very short time, a correction is necessary. After the short-term rally in near future, the possible short-term rally in future, the price still might drop first to cover this gap. So you want to do some speculation recently for the banks, you can try. But this is extremely tricky and dangerous. And for the short-term speculators, if you are not that type, you wait after the correction. Okay? You need patience if you are the conservative type. If you you don't want to wait, then short-term speculation recently you can try. But you need to set your stop loss. I mention it again. Stop loss is very important because no one can make sure every trading is the right one. Every trading is successful. No one can make sure of that. Okay. So this is for DBS, and then for OCBC, 039. Okay, so OCBC also it's maybe we check DBS today. It dropped or not today? Let me. This is Hong Kong market. Let me change to Singapore, and when it's changing, we can check OCBC here. OCBC now we need to pay attention to the yellow Tai Chi signal. The previous yellow Tai Chi, the top, the high price is $9.682. 9.682. That's the previous high, which is the high of the Tai Chi signal, the previous Tai Chi. And now the price already close to the Tai Chi signal high. This would be a resistance area for OCBC. The price might drop any moment, but if recently the rally can continue, maybe the price can even break up the previous high a bit, right? But this is really quite high already. If you are not good at such kind of short-term, super short-term speculation, you better wait after the price touch the resistance or break the resistance, then drop again. Give us some correction. After some correction in future, you try again. That would be better. But one thing is for sure, the banks will have opportunity. It's about the time to consider open position for medium term to long term, not just short term. Okay, so this is for OCBC, and then we check the real time for DBS today. Yes, today it dropped, right? Now the drop is still remain above the low of the this candle, which is the top of the upward gap. So if the correction never drop below the level, this is acting as very strong support. In near future, for short term, very short term, the price might even continue going up further. But we need to check the level closely, okay? This is for DBS. Then just now we were checking OCBC, right? 039. Yeah, OCBC today, until now it also dropped a bit. Considering yesterday, this is a long bullish candle. Check the half level today, yesterday, and you see today the low price just around the half. This is the strong support level. In near future, it dropped below the half, might even drop further. Touch, let's say, the close price of the previous long bullish candle here, and then also the half level. Can check. Yes, this is for OCBC, and then finally we check UOB, right? So UOB also, now we need to pay attention to the Tai Chi signal, the previous yellow Tai Chi signal. The price already reached the Tai Chi signal top and bottom area, and correction might come any moment, and also price might even break up the top first, then drop. But you need to check the rising space here. If you feel the rising space here is too small, even if break up, you're not sure how far the price can go in future. Better maybe you either conservative type, wait for the correction. After the correction, decide again. Because if in future after the correction, the price go back to touch the white lines of homely rainbow, then turn upward again. This long-term bullish reversal will be confirmed. But you check for UOB now, the white lines still downward pointing. They're not really turning flat, right? So it's weaker. You compare with DBS, right? DBS is already, obviously it's going flat. The white lines already going flat. So for DBS, it's almost confirmed this is the bullish, long-term bullish reversal. But for UOB, the pattern is still not yet completed. The birth of that horse, not really completed. Because the white lines need to go flat. And yeah, OCBC also, I think it's still downward, right? It's still downward. We need to monitor longer time. But for for DBS, already the white lines going flat. So higher probability this is the long-term bullish reversal. We are waiting for the correction to get the confirmation that this is the successful long-term bullish reversal, right? The probability is very high already. Okay, so this is about the contents I want to share with you today. And let me check your stocks. Who has WhatsApped me your stocks? Let me check. Okay, I got several message here. This one friend want to check, P Pfizer. Okay, so P Pfizer, because after the news is announced that the vaccine might be 90% effective, right? So big upward gap, but it gap up open but close low. It's a very long. It's not a bearish candle, let's say, but the candle pattern here is the bearish looking. And we see until now, the price is still in correction. Of course, we have support, the previous high level, and also is the big upward gap here. This is acting as the strong support. We see last night, the price used to drop below the top of the gap, level, right? But finally managed to close around the level. Means the level here is acting as strong support. If in near future the price continue dropping further to cover the gap, we may need to monitor for longer time. After the price gets support at the yellow lines below, then turn upward again, maybe we can consider again, find another timing. But if the price never drop below the gap, it turn upward again, there might be some short-term speculation chances, short-term speculative chances, because this is a very long candle here, right? And the space between the low and the high of this big long candle here is a big one. And if you want to do some speculation, if you see the price never drop below the top of this upward gap here, right? And then it begin to turn upward. You check the firstly the half level of this long candle, which is also the open price of this long bearish candle here. So the rising space is between the top of this upward gap and the half level half level of this long candle and open price of this long candle. Okay, so the rising space is here. You can judge yourself, consider yourself whether you think this rising space here is worthwhile. Worthwhile you're taking the risks. This is for short-term speculation, only for the speculators. If you are not that type, maybe you keep monitoring until the price can break up the half level again. Then consider. Okay, so this is for P-Feather. Next one, someone want to check Sembcorp Marine. Oh, okay, Sembcorp Marine. Sembcorp Marine is weak, right? Because now we see yellow lines, very strong resistance above. And now the price can even not break up the first, the counting from the bottom to the top, the first yellow line, right? It's weak. Today, check today. I think high probability is still quite weak. You see, it's weak. Today continue dropping. So this one too weak with no big boys and with too much retailers, and the trend is down. Okay, it's unilateral drop. If the retailers more than 75%, quite stably, is in the unilateral drop stage. So better not to touch this kind of stock. All right. Another one. Oh, okay. Thai beverage. Okay, so this one we see now is around the white lines of homely rainbow, right? White lines now acting as very strong resistance. We need to see whether or not the price can break up. The resistance here is quite strong, but the good sign is now we have the big boys now more than 25 is around very close to the 50 level. That's a good thing. But then this upward gap also need to pay special attention. If in near future price unable to break up the resistance, it drop first, right? And then touch the level support. If it never cover the gap in near future, rather it turn upward again, then means for short term the upward momentum is quite strong. You want to do some short term speculation, can consider, but never forget the resistance around the white lines is very strong. It's not that easy to break up. All right. But in future, when the price finally can break up the white lines and white lines go in flight, then maybe for Thai beverage in future, you can consider even trade for medium term to long term, because that would be the long term bullish reversal, right? The birth of dark horse for Thai beverage. Okay, so this is for Thai beverage, and then there's another JD.com and Alibaba. Okay, so these two friends all want to check the e-commerce, JD, because recently we have news about these two companies, right? JD.com, we check Baba first, because Baba was the one seriously influenced by the U.S. government restriction policy. The U.S. government, China government, right? The Chinese government has exerted some restriction to run the e-commerce giants like Alibaba, JD.com, and Pinduoduo, right? So actually, Alibaba is the one influenced the most because this is the U.S. one, right? The U.S. one, we see after the big downward gap keep dropping further, get support at the blue line of Homely Rainbow, blue line, and last night a small rebound. Because this one thing is this is the support. The other thing is the Singles Day sales holiday, right? So the Singles Day holiday, the sales for Alibaba and also for JD.com actually quite satisfying because the sales this year much more higher than last year. I cannot remember very clearly the figure, right? The value, the sales, the amount of the sales. I was checking the news today, but what I remember is it's greater, much more than last year. The sales for either Alibaba or for JD.com. So actually, that's good news, right? So although we have the restriction policy exerted by the Chinese government, first we also we have good news. The sales has been much more greater than last year. So when the price gets support here, maybe in near future the price might rebound. It's possible because this is overreaction by the policies, right? So Alibaba is the one influenced the most because some people said because of Jack Ma's comments have offended some China government staff. So that I don't know the details, but the result turned out to be that Alibaba it is the one influenced the most, right? Most seriously influenced. Then this is the U.S. one. If you check the Hong Kong one, Hong Kong one, yes, even drop to touch the last yellow line, blue line of Homely Rainbow here. So this is a very big drop. The drop here is even bigger than the U.S. one, right? This is the Hong Kong one, Alibaba. And today, let me switch to the Hong Kong one, Hong Kong market. And when it's switching, we can check the JD.com. JD.com, yeah, it also was influenced by the policy, but we see the correction is less serious because the price still remain above the yellow lines of Homely Rainbow, right? It managed to remain above the yellow lines of Homely Rainbow. And then last night also rebound. And if you want to do some short-term speculation based on the sales news, bigger sales this year, right? And then the half level, you need to pay special attention. And this is the previous gap, small downward gap. The top here also would be some sort of resistance if the price can break up. Then the next target level is the half of this long bearish candle here. You need to consider yourself whether the rising space here worth your gambling, okay? So this is for JD.com. And then for Pinduoduo, maybe we also check a bit. Okay, Pinduoduo is the one which was influenced the least because we see the correction is a very small one, right? And yesterday, there's already a very forceful rise, right? Last night, the rebound is quite a forceful one. And of course, this is the yellow Tai Chi signal. If the price can break up the yellow Tai Chi here, may even go up further. But for this one, it's not a very good timing to chase after because this is quite high already. It's still different from JD.com and Alibaba because for these two, after short-term sharp drop, position quite low. We have some rising space, but for this one, it's too high to chase after. This is a very forceful rally here. The correction not so big one. It's not a very good timing to chase after the rally. Okay, so yeah, this is about the stocks you'd like to check. All right, so it's about the time to call it an end today. So I think today I do better, but I still fail to finish in 40 minutes, right? So that's 46 minutes today. But tomorrow I will try to make it in 40 minutes and 30 to 40 minutes. Within 30 to 40 would be the best. All right. So that's all for today, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And also don't forget to support me on Facebook. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.